Another Super Saiyan 4 video. How strong is Akira Toriyama's Super Saiyan 4 Kid Goku in Dragon Ball Daima? In this video we will try to calculate a multiplier and also gauge it to Dragon Ball GT's Super Saiyan 4 in comparison, and see who would win between the both. I just want to thank you all so much for your support to my channel over the years, this week especially, so please hit the like if you enjoy my videos in Super Saiyan 4. And if you want extra perks on the channel, including members only content like polls, emojis, badges and other videos, hit the join and become a channel member. That helps support me even more. So this analysis is on the initial Kid Goku from episode 18 only. As the time I'm making this video, we've yet to see an adult form of it in Daima, if that's going to happen. But if we get more demonstrations of power, I will indeed recalculate. These calculations on Daima and GT are simply my own. They're just numbers and don't affect how I enjoy the stories because I love both Daima and GT. So be sure to leave me a comment on what you agree and disagree with. Leave your own thoughts about the comparison of Super Saiyan 4 power. Let's begin. If we are comparing the power of GT and Daima Super Saiyan 4, there's one thing we must take note of. They are both Super Saiyan 4. Even Toei behind the scenes apparently refer to the form as Super Saiyan 4 in Daima. We might get another name, but of course it's not the exact same Super Saiyan 4 as in GT in terms of lore or power. It's like legendary Super Saiyan from movie 8 versus Dragon Ball Super Broly versus Gogeta. We know Z Broly's multiplier is no larger than Super Saiyan 2 for the time period it's in, but Dragon Ball Super Broly's legendary multiplier was beyond Z's comprehension of multipliers, so we can't transfer feats and power from GT to Daima to estimate Super Saiyan 4 in the different continuity because events are different and characters get different power jumps. And oh yeah, we're not including Super Dragon Ball Heroes Limit Breaker Super Saiyan 4 because too insane. Daima Super Saiyan 4 Kid Goku does not appear at the same level of Super Saiyan God in terms of power portrayal and even the jump from Super Saiyan 3. Super Saiyan God in Battle of Gods is just a different monster altogether with the feats and scaling, but in respect of Super Saiyan 4 itself and its own series, that being Daima right now, it's not weak at all, especially in terms of the placement in the story 3 years before Battle of Gods, and the fact an even stronger Super Saiyan 3 Goku compared to the Buu Saga got squashed by Goma. Kid Super Saiyan 4 Goku beat down Goma with a Kamehameha and forced the third eye to turn Goma giant and strip the Super Saiyan 4 power away. Whatever that ability was that he used on Goku, it seemed like an energy drain because Goku was getting hit down the forms one by one. Now in comparison to GT Super Saiyan 4, the first obvious indicator that GT Super Saiyan 4 has superior power as a form is the fact it can reverse a Black Star Dragon Ball Wish from Ultimate Shenron, a dragon with infinitely more power than regular Shenron in concept, as a Super Namekian Dragon Clan member made that dragon compared to Dende, who could only create a regular Shenron. And just look at the damn size of that thing. Daima Super Saiyan 4 can't override the power of regular Dragon Ball magic cast upon Goku's body, so conceptually GT's Super Saiyan 4 is superior. But what about in terms of raw power scaling from the Buu Saga in general? We all know Daima Super Saiyan 3 Goku is much stronger than he was in the Buu Saga. By how much is uncertain exactly. We know Goku was referred to as the strongest throughout Daima thanks to the narrator, making him far superior to Ultimate Gohan. It was seen with his fight with Tamagami 3, and the fact Dabura couldn't beat that indicates that Goku has gone up a tier of power, most likely making his Daima Super Saiyan 1 form on par with his Buu Saga Super Saiyan 2 form. Now the jump from Super Saiyan 3 to 4 in Daima was noticeable, but it was also hard to quantify due to Goma's rise in power multiple times in the battle thanks to the third eye itself, an artifact where the true depths of his power still remain unknown, but we can gauge the initial Super Saiyan 4 Kid Goku somewhat based on the difference in performance from Super Saiyan 3. As we know, initial Super Saiyan 3 was landing some heavy hits and holding his ground, even deflecting Goma's ki blasts, but then got pressured by Goma when the third eye kicked in, which then ruined Super Saiyan 3, who couldn't tank Goma's smaller energy ball. By going with old school power levels and domination multipliers, and how much you need to beat an opponent, a fighter only requires about a 10% power difference to start dominating an opponent. Goma wasn't tanking Super Saiyan 3 Goku's attacks for most of that, and it's officially stated in the Daizenshu that a fighter must emit double the ki in order to negate attacks, so it would seem Goma is somewhere between 1.1 times to 2 times Super Saiyan 3 Goku initially. However, when Super Saiyan 4 entered the fight, it was able to kick back a giant energy ball of Goma and pressured him hard. Even a big ki blast made Goma physically exhausted until Goku finally buried him with a Kamehameha, so initially Super Saiyan 4 Kid Goku was somewhat between 1.1 times to 2 times Goma. So in terms of multipliers, we're not talking massive jumps here to Super Saiyan 4, at least here, unless we factor in the third eye's unknown power, raising Goma even higher. But it was quite clear Kid Super Saiyan 4 Goku defeated Goma before the third eye lifted Goma's Goma's body from the rubble to then bring him back into the fight. Considering Goma was really hurt from the ki blasts earlier, yet now he looks restored and a giant, it seems as though the third eye is the real threat, and Goma's enhanced body is just on borrowed time. Like I said, the jump from Super Saiyan 3 to God in Battle of Gods seems way larger, especially in terms of feats, and Beerus is yet another example of power we don't know the true depths of. We weren't given much dialogue at all in episode 18, so we have to gauge Super Saiyan 4 by action rather than statements right now. Before we get more info on the third eye and Super Saiyan 4's true power in Daima, it wouldn't be a far stretch to apply some jumps in power to Goma taking place thanks to the third eye buffing him, where Super Saiyan 4 could then be dozens or so above Super Saiyan 3 in order to fight back, making the kid's Super Saiyan 4 amp from base form many thousands if Super Saiyan 3 is a 400 times, according to the Super Exciting Guide. But again, depending on the power of the third eye enhancing Goma as he fights, we could be looking at a number from thousands to millions for the third eye and base form to Super Saiyan 4 in Daima. What's that like in comparison to Super Saiyan 4 in GT? If you watched GT and took note of the scaling and the original script from the Japanese version, you'll know where I'm going with this. But if you only use some rough landmarks and haven't watched GT fully for the purpose of scaling, then this is something I think might help you out. It all starts at End of Z, where Goku is a different beast altogether after training for 10 years and wanting to fight Oob, who he said was definitely Kid Buu's reincarnation after testing him. The only way for Goku to accept it really was Kid Buu is if the power displayed matched Kid Buu. It was stated Oob didn't know how to control the power, which is different from being able to showcase it randomly through the fight. So End of Z base Goku is bare minimum Kid Buu and Super Saiyan 3 Buu Saga level. Then we have to factor in 5 more years of training with Oob, the one he wanted to fight this whole time. So if his growth in 10 years is anything to go by, 5 years training with his dream matchup is definitely something to not underestimate. But in start of GT base Goku far higher than Kid Buu through narrative alone. The Black Star Saga has some ridiculous power jumps for base Goku. For example, Lud level 3 couldn't be handled by Super Saiyan Goku and Super Saiyan Trunks in terms of raw power. Already at 50 times start of GT and they can't deal with him. Lord Lud is insanely beyond Kid Buu. And of course the Sigma Force, many months later, who Goku acknowledged for their power compared to previous enemies, which he dealt with in base form. No matter how goofy some of these enemies are in the Black Star Saga, their power is a different story, which makes sense as Rildo's approach in power was stated even greater than Buu, only to find out that was Rildo's suppressed power, along with Goku's suppressed base power. But if we had to work out a Super Saiyan 4 multiplier in GT, there's no official number, but there's a quick way to do it, and no, it's not 10 times Super Saiyan 3, and here's why. Baby Vegeta was using a Super Saiyan 1 equivalent to overwhelm Super Saiyan 3 Goku, then Baby proceeded to, as stated in official guides, use equivalents of Super Saiyan 2 and Super Saiyan 3 to raise his power, meaning Super Baby 2 is at least 8 times from the time he first fought Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Goku's Golden Uzaru then overwhelmed Baby, meaning the Golden Uzaru level is above 8 times of Super Saiyan 3. To even be a match to Baby. Likely a 10 times, as that's the Uzaru multiplier stacked on Goku's highest Super Saiyan power at that point, Super Saiyan 3, and that makes sense as that extra multiplier buff could close the gap earlier to make Super Saiyan 3 Goku vs Baby more level if it wasn't for stamina issues. Baby transforms into Golden Uzaru, but through a scientific procedure, which means there are 2 multipliers you can go with from here. Either apply 10 times to Super Baby 2 for the Great Ape, thus making Super Saiyan 4 from Super Saiyan 3 an 80 times increase to match it in power of Baby, which would make GT Super Saiyan 4 a 32,000 times multiplier from base form. But another method to calculate Super Saiyan 4's power in GT is to go with Golden Ape Baby being a 10,000 times multiplier from Super Baby 2, due to the overloaded Brute Wave's power amp Baby received being 1,000 times the normal power of Brute Waves or Blutz Waves that a normal Uzaru gets. Why do Brutes or Blutz Waves actually equate to a power-up? Because the waves are confirmed to be a power source which, as seen when it provides power to Baby and Goku in order to raise their power and even restore it. The regular Brute Waves from the Moon or Earth power the Saiyan up for a 10 times boost during a metamorphosis. 1,000 times the regular waves project power which would equate to 10,000 times more Uzaru power than usual, like a super overkill battery pack, and this is also supported as the old Kai said Baby is feeling the effects of being in an unnatural Uzaru state, and that's why Goku's 10 times Kamehameha had a delayed effect, because Baby was simply roided up and his body was on overtime. As we all know, we've seen it many times before in Z, movies, and even modern Dragon Ball. If a Saiyan receives extra power of what they normally produce, like being powered up by another, then they typically make that power their own and get stronger for the future stories. So this is why Super Saiyan 4 is an extremely powerful amp in Dragon Ball GT. Basically, if you do the math, it works out to Super Saiyan 4 being around a 40 million times multiplier from base form in order to match Great Ape Baby's unnatural boost. This isn't even counting the later amps of full power Super Saiyan 4 absorbing a fully charged Super Revenge Death Ball, which could put the full power Super Saiyan 4 nearing the billion times multiplier from base form. It's also important to note that GT is a continuation of the original 90s Z anime by Toei Animation. Toei created both Z anime and GT anime, and GT was in the final episode of Z as a direct continuation of the Z anime, 1 week later resuming regular broadcast for Goku's story with the same writer on the team at the time. And that's why in Japan the word canon isn't used the same as in the West. GT was and still is classed as an anime original sequel to the Z anime. Toei still promote it, even if it's a different branch of continuity from Daima and Super. Therefore, with consistent anime scaling, GT Goku requires only his base form to respectfully defeat the Daima Super Saiyan 4 Kid Goku we saw in episode 18. He won't even need his power creeps from the Baby Saga or Super Saiyan 4 itself, just early GT base power, and he probably wins when his stomach is rumbling too. This is why Daima Super Saiyan 4 is not the same Super Saiyan 4 as GT. There's too many overkill power-ups in GT to transfer across for Kid Super Saiyan 4 Goku to be that level against Goma. Unless, like I said, we get more info about the third eye granting thousands or millions of power amps to the user, then sure, maybe they'll be similar in that sense then. Real quick, let's talk about the stamina issue of Super Saiyan 3 and GT compared to Daima, as it's quite clear. Daima Goku holds Super Saiyan 3 longer than what GT Goku did. When we factor in the insanely high raw power jumps of Baby compared to End of Z levels, which are already above Daima even narratively, how much Super Saiyan 3 power would GT Goku need to exert just to stand toe to toe with that level of foe? A lot more Super Saiyan 3 power required than by Daima Super Saiyan 3 Goku, meaning the burnout would be quicker, especially if he's getting beat up by a way stronger foe. Daima Goku had help, GT Goku didn't have any help in Super Saiyan 3. It's important to remember just how problematic Super Saiyan 3 was portrayed in the 90s compared to modern times, as it was the top form in Dragon Ball back then before Super Saiyan 4, and the drain was a major part of its design. Perhaps that had something to do with the writing decision back then to cause drama in the story, but it does seem weird when comparing it to Daima in an overall picture of scaling. Even Super Buu level Gotenks held onto Super Saiyan 3 longer than GT Goku, who were far weaker than GT levels of power. But leave me a comment on what you think the reasons are that Daima Goku held onto Super Saiyan 3 longer than GT Goku. Does he have superior stamina? Is this the perk of different continuities? What the hell is going on? But if there's one thing I hope you take away from this video, is that numbers aren't as important as a good story. As long as you enjoy it, you automatically win. Numbers are just opinions and extra fun only for discussion purposes. Stronger characters don't make the weaker characters any less enjoyable because Daima Super Saiyan 4 still rocks. It's awesome. So, thank you so much for watching today. Until we meet again.